Hey guys, Jeff here. I just want to share this video with you. Sorry, my parrots are screaming in the background. But anyway, I had an inquiry from one of my subscribers based on a video, my how to start a nonprofit. They had sent me some questions through social media. So I figured let's hop on a quick Zoom and answer some questions. So here's another Q&A, if you will, from my nonprofit 501c3 how-to playlist. So check it out. Pretty cool. Some of the questions that we covered are right here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And don't forget, thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And pardon my parrots.
All right, so I have a list from the Facebook messages that I did not address yet. Do you want me to just start there?
Sure.
And then we can kind of go from there. Pardon me, I got to put my old man glasses on.
No worries.
So I know one of the inquiries was you were looking to find a name that isn't being used. So my question was, are you using like LegalZoom or some kind of online service to incorporate, or no?
I actually called LegalZoom and they wanted, I didn't really ask the questions that I asked you. I was just asking them about filing 501c3 and how that all would work. And then after everything was said and done, then he was like, oh, it's $950 plus you use our attorneys. So then I was like, oh, okay. So I got a little bit of information, but to answer your question, no, but I looked online to see if our name is out there, and I didn't see any of the names that I wanted to use.
Gotcha. All right, because 501c3 status comes after you incorporate. So first
after the state of Oregon.
First you establish your nonprofit, and you get an EIN that goes to the state and the IRS. And doing that through LegalZoom was only a few $100. At least there was, not too long ago. I haven't used it in a while, but getting 501c3 status, that comes after your nonprofit is established. Some people use attorneys, some people do it themselves. I could tell you, I have someone I know, they just created a new 501c3 down here, and their organization did it themselves. The challenge is that sometimes the IRS comes back a bunch of times with refusals and challenge questions, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But you could probably do it yourself. You don't necessarily need a lawyer. So if you did use LegalZoom or there's other online websites that will incorporate for you. Because you get, when I say incorporate, meaning you establish your nonprofit as an entity. And then 501c3 comes after that. So the two separate steps, if you will. And as soon as you establish your nonprofit, you can start operating. You can start fundraising. You can start running your rescue day one. The only thing that 501c3 is for is people who donate to you. They can write it off on their taxes. That's the only reason why it's helpful. And then, which one of your questions also was about grants and stuff. Most grants, if you're not 501c3, you won't qualify for a grant. Okay. So, to my knowledge, I'm not a lawyer. I play one on TV. No, I'm just my understanding is that 501c3s they'll be, first in line for grants and stuff. So,
okay, that's good to know.
So you have not established your nonprofit yet?
No, but we're going to do that this week.
Okay. And, the thing too is, which people don't, we've always been a very small rescue. I've always been involved with smaller rescues. There's a couple of rescue partners that I train dogs for. They're much larger scale. I worked with 60 or 70 rescues over the years. I don't know a single one who's ever taken a salary or anything like that. We don't take money from the rescue, but you can get reimbursed. There were times when I was up in New Jersey specifically, I did have 800 square feet of my business that was allocated just for the rescue. So technically they were renting. I didn't charge them rent. But we did, I did subsidize, like, let's say that it was 25% of the square footage. According to my accountant, I was able to do certain things, 25% of my bills, like electric and stuff. Not that I did that, but I could have. That's something more of an accounting question for your accountant. Yeah. So, but the bottom line is that as soon as you establish a nonprofit, you're ready to go. Because you could just be you're doing a dog rescue, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to be,
it's going to be foster based.
Good.
It's going to be small, very small to start.
Right. Good. Yeah. So that minimizes your expenses. So let's just say the two of you shell out a couple of $100 a piece to get started, right? You could technically reimburse yourself if you need to. When we founded Pity Rescue in 2010, I think it was, we were in the fortunate position where I didn't need to reimburse myself. But I mean, I've helped a couple of people recently where, they weren't in that position. And it was almost like I had to give them permission to reimburse themselves. It's a legitimate reimbursement, So for people who are not able to fork that kind of money out without getting it back, there's nothing wrong with that. We just can't benefit financially from the nonprofit. That's the bottom line. Which everybody I know, all our extra money goes to the dogs.
Right.
So that was that. The next one was, what is USPTO? That's United States Patent and Trademark Office. So if you want to have a logo, you could register it on the USPTO's website. I think it's like $35 if you wanted to register it as a registered mark. The loophole I did, Pity Rescue technically doesn't have a logo, but on our homepage, there's Pity Rescue Inc. and then a bunch of dogs. Every single one of those dogs are pictures I took. So those pictures are my intellectual property. No one else can use them. So that's, again, I'm not a lawyer, but that's a loophole. If you're utilizing your own intellectual property, you're automatically protected. No one can ever use your intellectual property. Well, they can, and you could sue them, but what's that?
That can take a lot of time, effort, and money.
Who the hell wants to deal with it? Like, we're just trying to save a freaking life. Like, we got time for this crap?
Yeah. I definitely have pictures of our family dogs, the past family dogs that I wanted to use.
Yep.
They are our babies.
Yeah, and just you'll have they're your pictures. You own them. It's your intellectual property. Let's say you go on to like PicMonkey or something like that and created a logo, right? You save it to your computer, upload it to like your Google Drive or something, and just store it there. So now you have your original intellectual property and a hard date and time stamp on the photo in the cloud. So, God forbid anything ever happened, you could always say, look, first of all, this is my intellectual property. You have no right to it. Number one, we've been using it since day X 2023. Okay. So,
Well, we already have our little logo that we're probably going to use, and or a picture of a family dog, my brother's dog, or whatever. All of them are rescues anyway.
Yeah, cool. The next one you had was the attorney role as far as rules and regulations and bylaws. I can't answer that. That would be a question specific to an attorney you are using, if you're using an attorney. We were fortunate in that we actually had an attorney who did our 501c3 filing pro bono. Not only that, the guy even paid for the filing fees. I mean, we really lucked out. So we were really fortunate. Nice. Yeah, it was, again, we didn't have to get reimbursed for any money, but it's not like we're rich either. So that was really nice that he did that. As far as rules and regulations, you have to make sure you're following your state and local laws. As far as being foster based, even in Oregon, you're probably fine right off the bat. If you were going to have a facility somewhere, then you would probably need to get involved with the Oregon Department of Agriculture and get special licenses and things like that. But you're just foster based, so as long as that's all you really need there. As far as your bylaws, it's funny because when you mentioned, I saw bylaws and I went to get my bylaws, and we moved down here 9 years ago. And I've had like 3 different computers since I've been down in North Carolina. and I went to look for my bylaws to send to you. They're not on my new computer, so I don't know where the hell they are.
Oh no, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you too, because I was going to definitely take your advice and
Yeah,
use
so
it as a template.
what we did years ago is there were templates online that I used and modified for my own. Now, technically on my website, we do have, I have like a private page for volunteers and stuff, and I have volunteer forms like do's and don'ts, like any volunteer who walks a dog, they're not allowed to at dog parks. They're not allowed
Great,
to do
I read
this.
that.
They're allowed to do technically like all that stuff was in my bylaws, wherever the hell they are. So things like that, policies, procedures, your mission statement, what you expect of your board, what you expect of your officers and volunteer positions,
Yeah.
all that stuff could be in your bylaws, but you could just download template bylaws and just tweak them for your own. I think the biggest, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So can I, do I look up dog rescue templates, or you're saying any template will work?
Yeah, I mean, if you look up 501c3 bylaw templates, and I think, what the hell's the name of it? Lawdepot.com, I think they might have, you might have to sign up for like a 7-day free trial or something, but they might have something. But if you just Google template bylaws or 501c3 rescue bylaws, and just tweak it for yourself. My thing was, especially years ago, like my vision of bylaws was like, I'm kind of old school, so I'm thinking it's this big binder, and it doesn't. It just has to have pertinent information for the operation of your 501c3,
Okay.
that's really all. So as far as an attorney's role, I don't think, even if you hired an attorney to do 501c3, the questions they ask throughout the 501c3 process, some of that comes into play, but they're usually, what are you going to, what your operating procedures are, if any, what your revenue is going to be, things along those lines. So yeah, so I don't know what, again, it would be more of an attorney specific role.
I haven't had any luck with pro bono. In fact, I had even somebody, really nice lady, she was like, well, I was just talking to some attorneys and they said pretty much good luck. I was
Yeah.
like, nice. Okay.
I know it stinks. It really does. But I could tell you, like I mentioned, someone I know personally, they just went through this. It was an artist foundation that they were forming down here, and they just went through it, and they were back and forth with the IRS like 5 or 6 times. Ultimately, they approved the application, and this was just I think 4 or 5 artists that were just getting together answering the questions. So, and that could be done right on the IRS's website. You don't have to pay for a service. You do have to pay the filing fees. So as long as your mindset is, look, we're not going to get this right the first time, like just take that burden off yourself and just be like, let's just work through the process. We'll get there. You're not going to answer everything perfectly, so that's one way of going about it. Grants, we talked about 501c3, they probably take precedent, and many grants are only for charities. So, because it's not just there's 501c3, there's 501b, there's all sorts of different charities. So, and then you had asked me about social media and videos. I do it all. Social media, I don't really do much as far as I just share my YouTube channel, and I do stuff on TikTok and YouTube as far as videos go. I just use basic Microsoft editing stuff. I don't do anything fancy. I started like a couple of years ago. I tried to play around, make it like all fun and neat, but I'm like, let me just get to the point, because I'm doing this I'm not doing YouTube to make a living. I mean, I've been doing it a while now. You get a few bucks here and there, but my thing is, especially where I'm at in my dog training career, it's almost like my time is limited. I'm 50 years old. I'm not sure how much longer I can do what I specialize in, which is, the tough dogs. Like, I just don't physically, it's not that I'm in bad shape, but it's a lot. It's a lot physically, it's a lot mentally, it's a lot emotionally, and we never know where life is going to lead us. So at least, if I keel over tomorrow, my YouTube channel, God willing, will help somebody.
Yeah, well, it definitely helps.
So, yeah, so I I do it myself now. When I was up in Jersey, my wife and I were up there still. We had probably had volunteer staff, not necessarily dog walkers, just people like officers, if you will, volunteer secretary, volunteer social media coordinator. We had about 8 people helping us. So it was a lot easier. We had more dogs under our care, so it was a little easier to network. But because I've been in rescue since 2022, training since the 90s. I don't really need to, plus I'm at the point where if they watch it, they watch it. If they comment, they comment. I'm not doing this for likes and counts and hits and like, I just want to make sure I at least provide some good content for that may help people. So, but yes, I do it myself with basic editing software, nothing crazy.
Okay.
And that's all the list I had from our messages.
Okay. You have
One question we had or we were thinking about is before we actually do any intake, get any animals in, into the foster system or whatever, how much money do we need basically on hand? How much would be a good startup?
Enough to care for that animal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the
cost.
Yeah, because we'd have to look at vet costs and, because the intake would take a lot of work to start with before we could ever actually give them to a foster family.
Yeah, and now, I mean, the other option you could also, your first rescue, I don't know, and I'm not sure what your situations are individually, but your first foster home could be you.
Yeah.
Right? If you just want to start with one dog or one cat or one whatever.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, we start really small.
With her living, her and her husband have a farm type thing. Anyway, we were talking about how one at a time and do it right like that way. But we wanted to know how much it would be to have on hand with maybe one. We could say one dog at a time.
All right, so let's say 2 dogs to start off with, right? Okay. One in each of your homes, just for shits and giggles. Pardon my language.
I know. Say the same thing.
Yeah, so let's just say a dog each, right? Let's say it's a 50-pound dog, and we'll assume you either pulled the dog from a shelter or maybe another rescue. I would avoid owner surrenders early on because it's challenging and they do not tell you the truth.
And they may try to get them back.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. It's more oh no, he's sweet, and then they rip your arm off. Like kind of thing.
Yeah, my mother-in-law had a Chihuahua that she insisted liked me, and that dog tried to bite me 3 times. Yeah. Nope.
Right. So
let's fabulous, but that Chihuahua is a. So now everybody except my mother-in-law, the only person that dog liked.
Yep. I mean, do you have any shelters around you guys?
Yeah, we're actually fairly close to the Oregon Humane Society, and there's a lot of smaller ones. Almost every county has at least one relatively large one.
So the thing is as soon as you can start establishing a relationship there too, and let them know you're a new rescue. You just established your nonprofit. Your 501c3 is pending. And most dogs that are coming that a shelter is going to place with another rescue, they're usually neutered or spayed already. So as far as an expense goes, that's the big one. If you don't have a spay and neuter clinic near you, the big one is the neutering or the spaying, which depending on what type of clinic or veterinary hospital it is, it could range, and then obviously geography too. It can range anywhere from $150 to $850. I mean, so if the dog is fixed already. And they have their rabies shot. That's the easy thing, because to get a rabies shot, you can go to a free rabies clinic or you have to go to an animal hospital. The other shots, you can actually go to like a Tractor Supply or something like that. You could give shots yourself if you guys are up to it. It's not hard. There's plenty. I don't do it. But it's I've done it in the past. I've even microchipped dogs, which is even worse. Oh,
that's a big needle. Yeah,
it's a big. Oh my God! Let me tell you, when I heard the skin pop the first time, I was like, "Oh my God!" And the dog like didn't even budge, and I'm sitting there freaking out.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
So
leave that to the vet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like doing it, but I have done it.
yeah, it's so when if they're fixed, that's the bulk of the expense. So let's assume you adopted a 50-pound dog. You know, you're probably looking at about 2 cups of food a day for a premium food. So you're probably looking at like 55, $60 a month for food, and then treats and toys and stuff. Leash and collar is going to be another $40. But you could also probably find stuff on Marketplace or Craigslist. Some people are getting rid of their bowls and their leashes. You could always, look for, little odds and ends like that. I would avoid getting any kind of bedding or fabric toys from sources you're not aware of, because you'll bring fleas and crap into your house. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say $100 a month per dog, and that's just food and supplies, and then a little cushion to accumulate in case you need vet care.
Yeah. Unforeseen anything, yeah.
And then it's not like you're renting space or anything like that. There are insurance companies. I think petfinder.com, they partner with an insurance company, so I think you can get decent insurance for like $700-800 for the year. That is something that you probably don't need right away, because it's not like you two are gonna sue yourself.
Yeah.
But
There's a total of five of us. We
okay.
just couldn't make it today.
Okay. Are all 5 going to be on the board when you register your nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll all be vested, and now there's also 2 different types of insurance. There's insurance to operate to protect your nonprofit, and then there's board member insurance. They're 2 separate types of insurance. I know a lot of small rescues operate without the board member insurance. So if there's an incident, your insurance obviously protects the nonprofit. The board member insurance protects the board members.
So starting out small, like foster based, then maybe a couple years down the road, if we get a little bit bigger, then should we get that board member?
Yeah, especially if you're established and you're going to have some people contributing to it, and you'll have, fundraising is going to help with that. I mean, like my accounting, for instance, I don't do my own accounting anymore. It's just it's a lot, and I mean, my accountant gives me a break. I've known him for like 25 years, but every May I have a $380 accounting bill, and that's technically that's from money that's in the Pity Rescue Bank account. I don't pay that personally. But we also know we're also down to 4 dogs. 3 are lifers. They're not going anywhere. 1 dog who's actually adoptable right now. Well, the other one will be. I don't want to say he's a lifer. I don't want to put that label on him yet. Yeah. So, the insurance, just, again, whatever, I don't know what their rate is right now, but having basic insurance, once you guys get the ball rolling, is fine, and then you can do the board member insurance down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have your list of stuff? Was everything answered?
We answered most of it yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else right now. Can you?
Offhand. It's gonna kind of build slowly, and we'll keep finding new questions and new.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything else, one step at a time, baby steps kind of thing, once you establish your nonprofit, just save a dog. Just keep it simple. It's, even if it's just one, and because you'd be surprised, before long, you're gonna have gates up and crates and rotating, and you'll get some enthusiasm, and that enthusiasm sometimes leads to poor decisions as far as taking on too many dogs.
That would be
that's kind of where
we'll rein her in. We'll try to. Anyway.
Yeah.
I've gone to other shelters, and I just need to not say anything about necessarily my experience, but I'm definitely not going to overdo, have too many because I want them to have enough room to move. And
Yeah, walking into some of the smaller
I just
places,
can't.
like the county shelters and stuff, and they're just in these tiny little cages.
yeah, I don't want to
They
say
don't have enough volunteers to,
Yep.
play with them and
It
walk
breaks
them
my
and-
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's the other thing too, is especially kind of the thing I have to sell people on when they foster a dog, is even if the dog has to be crated a lot in your home, it is still an upgrade from that shelter environment.
Yeah.
Because it's quieter, it's peaceful. They're walking or running in the yard every day. They're hanging out with you. Like, their lives immediately become better from day one, even if they have to be crated a little bit longer. Because let's just say a shelter dog is in a 6x10 run, which is a pretty nice size run. That's it. That's their life. So you're better off having the dog.
Cinder block and
Yeah.
Right. So, so that, I would say, as far as trying not to overwhelm yourself, I know a lot. One thing I see a lot is, especially new rescues, where they're going specifically to save a dog, but they go there and then there's like a little male and female dachshund that are in a cage together. So instead of taking one, they take both. Like, I could understand that, because maybe they're a quote unquote bonded pair, and it's 25 pounds a dog. Like, what's the difference? Like something like that, I could see, which would be a fair decision if you were struggling with, but it's okay to just save one right now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
yeah, you have, I think I gave you my cell phone, you have my email. So, if I can help out in any way, let me know. And if I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not going to make crap up. But I appreciate both of you, taking on this endeavor, because I can tell you, especially in the past 10 years, the rescue community, it's, and I'm not naming names, I don't do that kind of stuff, but the amount of, I don't even know how to say this, fraud of rescues, or taking advantage of people, or like literally selling puppies and calling themselves rescues, is just, it's at an all-time high. The rescue community is overwhelmed. People are surrendering their animals at an all-time high. So we really need good rescues, and even if it is to save a dog or two. So
yeah, and I actually got scammed with my dog.
Okay.
Because I called rescues, or I looked online, and I thought I had a person from a rescue. Well, she said she was rescue. She wasn't. Backyard. So, but I have my baby. She's 3 now. She had a lot of health problems. So anyway, so
So any questions, I'm happy to help. And you've been to Pity Rescue's website?
Yeah.
So you saw all the forms and stuff?
Yes.
Steal them, copy them, download them, put your name in it, change the stuff up, use it. If it's helpful. We have adoption applications, we have volunteer applications, stuff like that. Feel free to use it and make it your own. And
okay.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you again.
No problem. Anytime, guys. All right.
Hey, take care.
Bye.